Listen, I was up all night wondering, how many idioms do you know? No, not idiots. Idioms. 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 They do share the same prefix, but their freaks do not match. Their roots are not the same. I don't even think they spend holidays together. Idioms are phrases with symbolic or figurative meanings that are much different than their literal meanings. With idioms, you have to read between the lines to infer what the phrase really means. Idioms can be quite entertaining, but unfortunately, so many are starting to collect dust as older generations complete their life cycle. New idioms do still emerge, right? Like spill the tea. When someone says spill the tea, they're not asking you to spill actual tea. Imagine. I feel like every tea house and coffee shop in the world would go on strike if that was the case. Too much tea on the floor, man. Keep it in the cup. No, that's not what spill the tea means. If someone wants you to spill the tea, they want your inside scoop, your inner knowledge. Or, if something goes viral, it's not related to your health. It means a piece of content is spreading rapidly across the internet. Those are modern day idioms, but we are going to backtrack, and see how many vintage idioms you can guess and get right. And I won't beat around the bush here. We are going to start with close but no cigar. What does someone mean when they say it was close but no cigar? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what that means? It was close but no cigar. No cigar. Is this how you smoke a cigar? Or is that a different item that you smoke? I think it's like that. Anyway, do you have your answer? If not, you can always make it up and cross-check. Okay. Close but no cigar means you were very close, this close, to achieving something. And you made a great effort, but ultimately did not succeed. The phrase originated in the 1800s, and it was said to losers at carnival games. Cigars were a common prize at the time, so close, but no cigar. Our next idiom is pearls before swine. Pearls before swine. Pearls before swine. Ready? Pearls before swine implies you are offering something valuable to people who don't appreciate it or grasp its value. This idiom is traced all the way back to the Bible, which warns against giving sacred teachings or spiritual truths to those incapable of valuing it. It was adapted to convey the idea of offering sage advice or wisdom to people who disregard or misuse it. That's an interesting one, isn't it? I really like that one. The next idiom for you is I've dropped a clanger. I have dropped a clanger. Do you know what I've dropped a clanger means? I have dropped a clanger. In the United Kingdom, I've dropped a clanger is something you say when you make a significant mistake or say something so embarrassing or inappropriate that it could get you into trouble. It's a lighthearted way of playing off a blunder. This idiom is, as I said, of British origin, and a clanger refers to a loud noise. So, I've dropped a clanger. Next, we have keen as mustard. What does it mean to say someone is keen as mustard? Keen as mustard. They're keen as mustard. Keen as mustard. Do you have it? Keen as mustard means someone is very enthusiastic, intense, and sharp at excelling in an activity or area of their interest. The phrase was first recorded in 1692 when mustard used to be a cure for colds and fevers, as well as being known for its strong flavor. Moving into the next idiom, which is dead as a doornail. What does it mean if something is dead as a doornail? It's dead as a doornail. Dead as a doornail. Dead as a doornail conveys that something is completely and irreversibly lifeless. The phrase traces back to the 1300s, back before screws were invented and nails secured doors. There are multiple theories on why nails are considered absolutely dead, and the dominant theory is that the force and the number of times the nails were struck is what finished them off and made them completely unusable. How about the idiom, and Bob's your uncle? What does it mean when someone says, and Bob's your uncle? And Bob's your uncle. Bob. Good old Uncle Bob. And Bob's your uncle is another British idiom, and it means, there you have it, or it's as simple as that. It's used to indicate a process that's straightforward and easy to complete. And Bob's your uncle originated in the 19th century, and the theory is that it relates to British politician Robert Bob Peel, who had a heavy influence on the UK police force. Basically, if Bob's your uncle, you've got a straight and easy path to success. But if someone said, and Bob's your uncle, to me, I'd say, yeah, what does my uncle have to do with this? Why are you bringing him into this? And Bob is your uncle. Bobby's your uncle. The next idiom is chewing the cud. What does it mean when you're chewing the cud? Just chewing the cud. Chewing that cud. What do you think? Do you have some idea? Chewing the cud refers to someone who is thinking carefully and deeply about a situation or idea before speaking on it. It originates from the behavior of cows who chew, swallow their food, puke it back up, chew it, and swallow it again. I did not know cows did this until researching the meaning of this idiom. The poor cows. I'm assuming it's a much different experience for them than if we did it. I am so happy we don't do that. Our next idiom, pie in the sky. What does it mean if something is a pie in the sky? A pie in the sky. Pie in the sky. Got it. A pie in the sky describes an unrealistic dream or aspiration that is overly optimistic or impractical. It can also be used to describe an empty promise. The phrase became popular through a 1911 song intended to rally a union. It was called The Preacher and the Slave, and it was written by labor activist Joe Hill, who criticized the idea of deferring earthly happiness for a promised reward in the afterlife. Our next idiom, barking up the wrong tree. What does it mean if you are barking up the wrong tree? Barking up the wrong tree. Barking up the wrong tree. Barking up the wrong tree. If you are barking up the wrong tree, you are making the wrong choice, asking the wrong person, or following the wrong course. This dates back to the early 1800s, when hunting with packs of dogs was very popular. The dog would bark at the base of any tree it believed contained a raccoon in hiding. But if the raccoon had already escaped, then the dog was found barking up the wrong tree. The next idiom, like chalk and cheese. What does that mean? Like chalk and cheese. Like chalk and cheese. Chalk and cheese. Like chalk and cheese. You would say two people are like chalk and cheese, and you would be highlighting how different they are from each other and how they have nothing in common. Chalk is dry, dusty, and hard, while cheese is soft and creamy. It's believed to have been around from the 1300s, but there's little documentation of the tracing of its origin. And now, for the next idiom. At the drop of a hat. Drop of a hat. Drop of a hat. If you do something at the drop of a hat, you do it without delay, straight away. This comes from 19th century America, where the drop of a hat signaled the start of a race or a fight. Drop of a hat, start of a race or a fight, without delay, without delay, without delay. How about, I will be there with the bells on. If you will be there with the bells on, what does that imply? I will be there with the bells on. I will be there with the bells on. What are you implying there? Be there with the bells on. If you'll be there with bells on, it indicates your excitement for a party, one you can hardly wait to go to. It comes from 17th century Europe, and while there are several meanings, it seems to convey an idea of arriving at a designation decorated. Wagon drivers used to have bells on their horse and carriage, and this would signify a prestigious entrance. And the next idiom. What does it mean if you've got to see a man about a dog? What does it mean if you've got to see a man about a dog? You've got to see a man about a dog. You've got to see a man about a dog. What does it mean? This is used as an apology from someone who leaves suddenly but wants to conceal their true purpose. It comes from an 1866 play called Flying Scud, in which a character avoids a difficult situation by saying they need to see a man about a dog. I need to see a man about a dog. I need to see a man about a dog. What about heavens to Betsy? What are you indicating if you say heavens to Betsy? Heavens to Betsy. Heavens to Betsy. Heavens to Betsy. Heavens to Betsy is an exclamation that can express a range of emotions like anger, surprise, and happiness. It's a saying that stems from the southern United States, and its origins are still unsolvable. And the Betsy we're referring to is Betsy Ross, who was the first maker of the US flag. Don't take any wooden nickels. Do not, I repeat, do not take any wooden nickels, please. What does that mean? Don't take any wooden nickels. If someone says don't take any wooden nickels, they mean to be cautious and not get duped into thinking something is genuine or profitable. The origin here is hazy, but one explanation is that wooden nickels were released by US banks as promotional coins that could be redeemed for prizes, but they had expiration dates, which made them worthless after a period of time. However, the idiom is said to predate even that. So, we really don't know. And to call a spade, what does it mean to call a spade a spade? Call a spade a spade. 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 Do you have it? If you call a spade, you are being straightforward and blunt about something, even if it's uncomfortable. Its origins trace back to 1542, when a classical Greek text was translated from to call a fig into the English version to call a spade. Did not know that. Isn't it fascinating to see where it originates, how far back it goes, and how it's still used today, hopefully. Next, hold your feet to the fire. What does it mean if someone is going to hold your feet to the fire? Hold your feet to the fire. Hold those feet to the fire, the fire. Holding your feet to the fire. If someone holds your feet to the fire, they demand you deliver on your commitments, and they are pressuring or forcing you to meet your responsibilities. This dates back to torture practices in the Middle Ages, when accused criminals had their feet exposed to the heat until the flesh burned off. Intense. Had you heard these idioms before? Were there any you interpreted differently? Or were there any that caught you off guard? If you have any of your own that you've invented, I would love to hear them. I bet they're amazing. And just so you know, it is your mission and duty to keep every idiom you just heard alive, even if it means putting these pearls before the swine. I mean, we can't let them get lost in the shuffle here, okay? And I intentionally did not cluck in this session, or tongue click, because you requested it. So, I got you. Make sure to give this a thumbs up. And hey, maybe today is the day you consider becoming a member. Also, I have a massive stye on my eye. It hurts so bad. I have never filmed with glasses before, so if the light distracted you, I am so sorry. Have an excellent week. I love you.